Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Steven Universe review. In this episode, we're taking a look at Season 1, Episode 44, Marble Madness. This is another episode in the big grand story, as I call it. And yeah, no, it's another pretty good episode. Let's just get right into it. Starts off with Steven and Connie on the beach, and Connie is introducing Steven to her favorite series, the Unfamiliar Familiar. It's a Harry Potter knockoff. That's clearly what they're parodying, or at least that's how I've always viewed it. There may be something else, but young adult books, right? Yeah, that makes sense. And she starts reading the book to him when all of a sudden they hear a sound, and there's this giant marble, right? One of the robots we saw from Warp Tour, but it's a lot bigger. So the crystal gems come in and destroy it, and Connie has a great life. I love hanging out at your house. That's really funny. And Amethyst and the Goop Hug, that's really cute. And they're just gonna keep destroying the robots, right? Because that's, of course, they don't want Peridot. She was able to fix the Galaxy Warp last time. Who knows what she's coming to do this time? Who knows what she's after? So we cut to, I always like to think it's a few weeks later. It may be later in the week. We don't really know. There's no good time frame. But we see Steven's reading through the books, and he discovers that there's a book order, right? There's a certain order in which you're supposed to read the books, which, God. I was actually looking through it with the Harry Potter stuff. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I've never read any of... Well, I started reading the first one because I had to for school. Never finished it. But I actually own the first 5 Harry Potters, and I noticed they're all numbered on the spines. So shouldn't these be numbered? But he started reading the last book. Whatever. I get... The joke's funny either way. And we see the crystal gems are still out there fighting these marbles. And Connie's just, it's introducing your friends to your fandom, right? Showing your friends something you love, and they don't fully grasp it now. I think that one clip from the Sammy kid where it's just him screaming. But the crystal gems keep fighting the Robonoids. We see them fight one in the desert. And they're like, oh yeah, we could keep fighting these forever, but we don't want to, because they've been doing 5 a week, and they're just sick of fighting the Robonoids. So Steven makes a logical question of, why don't we just follow it to see where it goes? So they start writing it, and yeah, that's pretty funny. And it takes them to the kindergarten. Kindergarten still has such an interesting design. I love the contrasting colors. But eventually it shapeshifts and inserts itself into the ground and takes them to this weird place with all these tentacles and this crystal at the back. From what I, it's the core of the kindergarten, but the aesthetic we see in this show, and we'll see it later on as well, and we've seen it before in the Crystal Heart in, what was that, the 4th episode? Where there's usually always a core gem that has like these tentacles that branch out, powering everything else. It's an interesting design aesthetic, but even though the marble is like glassy, it's still able to like liquefy, and it makes a smaller one that eventually gives Peridot control of the panel. And the gems are, what do we do? How do we stop this? And Steven makes the most logical question. Maybe we should be asking questions, which is very hypocritical, because anyone who's watched this show knows it keeps its mystery secret by never asking any questions ever. So for once, I wouldn't even say they're making fun of themselves, but they're just, Steven's like, this is the perfect time to be asking questions. Because he never asks any questions in any previous episode, and he'll never ask any more questions in any follow-up episodes. But for one episode, we're gonna make a joke out of it. It's not as big of a deal as I'm making it out to be. But she pulls these things out of the wall, and then Steven comes up to talk to her. And he's like, I'm Steven. Are humans still the dominant race? Yeah, there are other humans, like my dad, Onion, maybe. That's funny. But Peridot goes to squish Steven, and the crystal gems stop her, and it's like, we're the guardians of Earth, the crystal gems. And, yeah, I mean, that's what they are. They guard Earth, even though... They only do it because of Rose. Yeah, they fight back Peridot, and she says, she's going to report this to her commander or something. I don't think they mention her yet. I don't think that comes for a while. Well, like less than 10 episodes, but you know what I mean. but they're able to destroy the core, and it's like, Steven, that was a horrible idea, but I guess we got more information about it. And yeah, that's where the episode ends. It is interesting. Most episodes end with a star fade, where it's right, the whole screen fades into black except for a star highlighting one little small thing, and then it fades out. Every once in a while, there's an exception. This episode is an interesting exception because it does a star fade, but it does it in reverse. The star starts in the center and then goes out into black. This is the only episode I can think of that does that. That's really interesting. But yeah, again, this is a good episode. The marbles are intriguing. There's a lot of good jokes throughout. I love the whole bit about the fandom, right? Introducing your friends to your fandom. Peridot is an interesting antagonist because she's clearly focused on something else other than the gyms, but the gyms just keep getting in her way. They keep smashing her Robonoids, right? It's interesting. It's intriguing, and it makes you want to know more. Like, what is she really doing here? And, I mean, we'll find out eventually. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.